Simon, how are you?
I'm good.
A pleasure to have you at Age Lagos 2025 this year.
Excited to be here. Really excited to be
2 years in a row, back to back. What's the motivation for you coming back here after?
So I actually missed last year.
Oh, you missed last year?
Yeah, because obviously
Oh, it was in between. Oh,
because I think because of clash of events, I had to make a decision. So I'm glad that that worked itself out. I was still on the fence, to be honest, about coming here to these events, and I was convinced by my colleagues, and I'm glad that I was here because I found a good level of mixed. We had a good relative stakeholders, good decision makers, a good mix across all of the ecosystems in iGaming. So it was, I think for its second edition, I think it was really, really well planned. I think it's only going to get better, if I'm being honest.
okay, amazing. I'm gonna ask you all that questions, but I've been meaning to ask you this one, and I'm going to do that. You are the face and the cover of the issue for iGaming Africa's magazine. I can't begin to tell you how far that magazine has gone and how many people has read that issue. But I'm going to say this, that everybody that have picked up one of those have had something interesting or insightful to say about everyone that was featured on it. And most especially our choice cover. They're like, oh, nice cover, nice cover. How was it like for you when you got the call? When you got the call and say, oh, we want you, we want to feature you on the magazine, we want to get an insight into how things are from your perspective in the gaming sector and all of that. How did that make you feel?
I think it was probably a highlight of my career, only because it's all I've ever done. I've been in iGaming my entire life, so I know nothing but iGaming. So for me to tell my story of how it started, it's kind of like a fairy tale story, the story, because you start from like the lowest point that one could start,
Yeah.
and then you find yourself at a pinnacle working for one of the biggest organizations in the world. So I think it's a good hybrid of talking about me personally and how my journey in iGaming has brought me to this point, and as well as the plans of what Playtech wants to do in the African continent. It was well received. I had so much of phone calls and messages from colleagues around the world. Obviously having a dig at me. They're gonna, I've been meeting iGaming to going to modeling. I'm like, no, I probably have a face for radio or other. So I said, and oh yeah, I think it's been really, really well received. I think it was a good initiative. I'm pleased to be working with a local partner in iGaming Africa as well. I think, the fact of the matter is they're more in sync with what's happening on the ground around the continent. So the synergy made sense. So for me, it was a well planned, well thought of, and well executed addition. It happened within tight timelines, between putting your Christmas tree up and wrapping your kids' gifts to take the photograph. And yeah, but I think it worked out. It really worked out. So massive effort from a lot of people, and I think it's well appreciated across both myself and Playtech that we could pull this off.
Yeah, amazing. So talking about Playtech, I like the tech at the end of that name, because this edition of of Age Lagos 2025, it's all about technology and how AI has contributed and can contribute into the African gaming market. So tell us, how has Playtech been able to execute most of their activities in the African gaming market with the help of technology, and especially the rapidly evolving one that is artificial intelligence?
Yeah, no, I think, in my personal opinion, as much as Playtech's a leading B2B iGaming supplier, we probably more seen as a technology partner, because we got 25 years. In fact, this year marked our 25 years celebration within the industry. So a big part of tech is always staying ahead of the curve. So, when people are talking about AI today, you're probably talking about it yesterday.
Yesterday.
Because it's an eminent trend to see what's happening next. Because that's the beauty of technology, The beauty of technology is trying to unbreak what's the next big thing. And we see it from a game's perspective. A game today might be big, and then tomorrow it could be something else, and the next day or the next month it could be something else.
Yeah.
And technology goes along the same trajectory. So I think the topic of AI is like a buzzword around this entire ecosystem of gaming. And when you look at the functionality and the strengths behind it, it goes without saying why, And I think from our perspective, we've made significant research and strides, and there's a lot to come. And I think it's a case of planting the seed now, building the relationships, getting the network ready. So when we look at something and it's seen as the next big thing, we already have a solution that circumvents components of AI, machine learning into these modules that allows people to have that level of innovation, automation, and more importantly, is the convenience of what you set out to do.
No, amazing. Before I let you go, Simon, I want to ask this question because I believe everyone in the African market has had it, one challenge or the other, and there's one that has been consistent in all through my conversation during the most of my interviews this year, and it has been the challenges most companies and brand in this sector have been facing in terms of regulations and the regulatory bodies from different regions that they operate in. But how has it been like for Playtech working around all of these rules and regulation? And what has been the most challenging so far in recent times?
I think what makes Africa beautiful is that we're so diverse, we're so different. Two countries can share the same border but have completely different takes on how you need to regulate and how you need to go about whether it's allocating a license or collecting up tax or what the tax regime should be. From a Playtech perspective, it's more about learning, understanding, working closer with the boards. I think the challenge comes from an inconsistency perspective because what is said today might change tomorrow,
Wow.
or it's an erratic decision. Like when a decision is made, there's no consultation with the stakeholders that might be impacted. I think if we take a step back to have that consultation, better decisions are going to be made. But if you're going to take a decision without too much of consideration, someone's going to bear the burden of that, and it's going to have a negative impact that subsequently goes negatively across the entire ecosystem. So I think regulation, yes, it's a big problem. Consistency would probably be a solution, but we also accept that no two markets are the same. So we just need to understand, how do we find the balance? How do we find working with, whether it's a test lab to give us credibility or whether it's the actual regulator to talk about the framework. We just need to understand it and obviously adhere to it because we have to comply because we're very big on corporate governance. So
Wow.
when we talk to these local regulatory bodies, we want to understand what's the framework, and we also have a very big team that could support that. We have the experience. So I think with engagement, talking to subject matter experts like ourselves, we could speak to probably, I would say, a immature market, a smaller country that's is just trying to regulate. We could possibly help them because there's a lot of things we might have learned many years ago that they still yet to discover. So I think open communication, open dialogue will definitely allow for people that have been there to help people that are yet to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to be key.
All right. Thank you so much, Zama, for looking so far.
Fine.
I said that issue and that comment was well deserving because if you agree with me, he's a wealth of knowledge. And thank you so much for sharing your journey
A pleasure.
with in the iGaming sector with millions of people that read that issue, that read that issue so far, and that's still going to read the issue because it was quite insightful. So thank you so much, and thank you once again for sitting down with me here.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.